Hello again, everyone. All right, today we're going to talk about, or in this episode, we're going to talk about how do we use the two formulas we learned from last time. The mass number equals protons plus neutrons, and charge equals protons minus electrons. How do we use that to actually calculate out the information of what is actually in a given atom? So we're going to start off with a fairly straightforward example, one where you're given the isotope notation. In this case, we're given the symbol Ca, and we're given the number in the upper left. If you remember correctly, the number in the upper left is the mass number. So the first thing we can do is we can transfer that number immediately here, 41. When you look at the periodic table now, you'll see that the atomic mass says 40. This is why I say you have to be careful. These are isotopes. That means there's a difference in what is present in the nucleus. We'll go a little bit more into detail in that in a little bit. But let's progress forward here. So in our case, we have Ca. Well, when you look up there, that is calcium. Calcium has an atomic number of 20. So we can automatically fill in atomic number based upon what's on the periodic table. Remember, atomic number is the only number you will pull from the periodic table when you're doing this. All right. Now, by definition, the atomic number is also the number of protons. So protons and atomic number, those columns will always be the same. So we can automatically put a 20 here. All right, now that we have protons and the mass number, we can use that to calculate out the number of neutrons. All right, since mass number is neutrons plus protons, that means we can subtract 20 from 41 and get our number of neutrons. And when we do that, of course, we get 21. Since there is nothing here, there is no number in the upper right, that means we have a charge of 0. Whenever you have a neutral atom, that means also protons and electrons are going to be the same. So since we have 20 protons, we've got 20 electrons. But our problems are not always nice and straightforward like that. Sometimes you're going to be given other information, so we've got to use our formulas to backtrack and figure out what's going on. In this particular case, we've got the number of protons equivalent to 44. All right, here's where we're going to go to our periodic table. Well, protons is also, remember, protons and atomic number are one and the same, so this is also 44. And looking at our periodic table, we find that element number 44 is Ru. So that can give us our symbol, Ru, ruthenium. Since there is no charge, you don't see any charges listed in our columns or anything like that, that means the charge is 0. So in this case, that means 44 is also our number of electrons. All right. Our mass number was given to us, 101. We have to tell the person that. So this 101 must go in the upper left. Okay? You cannot forget that, because just writing Ru, well, there's a lot of different things that are going on there. That could make that a different atom, etc. So we've got to tell the person the mass number. Given that, well, 44 plus the number of neutrons equals 101. So we're going to subtract. We get 57. So we have 57 neutrons. 101 minus 44 equals our neutrons. Okay? All right, we're going to do the same thing on the last one. Here now, though, we're given electrons and neutrons. Since there's no charge, that means the number of electrons is also the number of protons. We can only do that because there's no charge. Since 33 is the number of protons, that means our atomic number is also 33. We can go to our periodic table, we look up the atomic number, and we find that 33 is As, or arsenic. All right, the last thing is the mass number. So in order to figure out the mass number, we have to go back and we have to look at the protons plus neutrons. Well, we've got both columns filled in, so we're just going to add them together. So 33 plus 42 equals 75. So our mass number is 75. Remember, we have to put the mass number on our notation, on our symbol, so that means we're going to put the 75 in the upper left corner. Okay? So this is how to do basic PNE calculations. So what happens when we start adding charges in? Well, here people tend to start having some troubles because they have a tendency to just randomly fill in numbers. You gotta use your information that you're given. So let's start with one where we're given some basic information where we actually have the symbol. In this case, we've got oxygen. We've got a mass number of 18 because that's in the upper left. So once again, that's given to us, can all automatically go here, 18. Again, you'll notice, you look at the periodic table, it says 16, but here it's 18. That's because this is an isotope. Okay? Alright, so we've got a mass number of 18. This time around, we've also got a number in the upper right, so that's our charge or our oxidation number. That means we're going to put a -2 over here. This is going to affect the number of electrons. That means that the electrons and protons are no longer going to be the same. Speaking of which, we know O. O, we look at our periodic table. It is element number 8. So our atomic number is 8, which means our protons we have 8 protons. Since we have a mass, now, the easy one to take care of next would be neutrons. Mass number, we have 18 equals 8 plus what? Well, that would be 10. So we got 10 neutrons. Electrons, however, we have to be careful. Our charge is -2. So we're going to look at our formula up here. We're going to take our charge. We got -2 equals 8 minus what? In this particular case, 8 minus, well, we got a choice. We go to 2 to either side. 8 minus 6 is +2. That's not what we want. It's 8 minus 10. Gives us negative. So the charge on this makes a huge difference as to whether it's positive or negative. So we have 10 electrons and 8 protons. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Given information is going to tell us what we're going to do and how we're going to fill this in. You can start with either one of these, but since I've got protons and electrons, let's go ahead and figure out the charge, if there is one. Well, for the second one, we've got 11 minus 10 equals +1. So that means we have a charge of +1. All right. Now, we've got protons and we've got mass number. So we've got 24 minus 11 equals our number of neutrons. So that's going to be 13. All right, just remember, protons plus neutrons has to add up to that 24. Since we have a number of protons, again, by definition, that is also the atomic number. You can fill that in nicely. Now we've got to go in and we've got to fill in our last piece here. And our last piece tells us Element number 11 is Na, or sodium. Remember, this is not enough. We must also include other important information, which includes the mass number in the upper left. But since we have a charge, we also got to include that, which means we're going to put the +1 in the upper right. So this would be the complete isotope notation for the sodium. All right, now we're going to go do the same thing here, a little bit different. Here we've got 18 electrons, 15 neutrons, and a charge of -3. All right, since we don't have protons, let's see if we can figure that out first. Since we've got charge and number of electrons, we can use the charge formula to figure that out. In this case, we've got -3 equals protons minus 18. All right. So we're just going to add 18 to, when we add 18 to both sides, that means the number of protons equals 15. All right, because 15 minus 18 equals the -3. Now, we have protons. We have neutrons, which means now we can get my mass number. 15 plus 15 is 30. Then we look at the atomic number. Well, once again, by definition, protons and atomic number are the same, so that's also 15. To finish up, we now go to the symbol. Element number 15, we look that up. That is P, that is phosphorus. And now we got to complete it. I need to put the mass number in. It goes in the upper left, so we put 30 in the upper left. Since it has a charge, it goes in the upper right, so we put the -3. All right, that is it for this particular edition. We will be going over a lot more as we continue. If you have any questions, again, you can reach me through Remind, and I am more than happy to answer the questions for you. Take care and good luck.